In a crowded city full of competition, noise, and ambition, lived a young artist named Nima. She poured her heart into her paintings, colors, movement, memory. Her dream wasn't to be famous. She just wanted her work to matter. So when she finally gathered the courage to apply for an art showcase, she stayed up nights finishing her best pieces. The day of the result, she opened the email with trembling hands. "We regret to inform you." That single sentence shattered something. Nima stared at the screen for a long time, her chest heavy, her fingers numb. She had tried her best, and it still wasn't enough. That night, she hid her brushes in a drawer and swore she was done. Not just with the showcase, but with art. What's the point, she thought, of putting yourself out there if all you get in return is silence? What Nima didn't realize then was that rejection wasn't the end. It was an invitation, just not in the way she expected. The days that followed were quiet, but not peaceful. Nima tried to distract herself with other things. She told friends she was taking a break from painting, but deep down, she felt something heavier: shame. Rejection had made her doubt not just her art, but her identity. Maybe she wasn't meant to create. Maybe she had misread her own potential. Every time she walked past her sketchbook, a voice inside whispered, "Don't bother." And yet, one afternoon, she saw a little girl sitting on a bench, trying to draw with chalk on the ground. Her lines were messy, her colors all over the place. But she smiled. She was happy, not because her drawing was perfect, but because she was doing it for herself. Nima stood frozen, watching her. That small moment cracked something open. Maybe art wasn't about approval. Maybe it was about expression. And maybe rejection wasn't proof of her failure. It was proof that she had dared to try. That night, Nima quietly opened her drawer and pulled out a blank canvas. No pressure, no deadline, no judges, just her and the colors. She painted without planning, without purpose, only feeling. What came out wasn't technically perfect, but it was honest, raw, real. It was the first time she had painted just for herself in years. And in that moment, she realized something powerful. The showcase rejection hadn't taken away her art. It had returned it to her. It stripped away the need to impress and brought back the reason she started in the first place. If you've ever felt like rejection means you're not enough, like you should give up because someone else didn't see your value, subscribe. This channel is for you. These stories remind us that rejection isn't a wall. It's often a door to the right path. From that moment on, Nima no longer painted to get in. She painted to get free. And strangely, the more she let go of approval, the more her work began to shine. In the months that followed, Nima began to share her art online, not for fame, but to connect. She told stories behind each piece: the pain, the silence, the healing. People began to respond, not with shallow likes, but with depth. This made me cry. This feels like my story too. Her inbox filled with strangers who saw themselves in her colors. And here was the irony. The very work that got rejected now touched more lives than she ever imagined. Not because it was perfect, but because it was real. One evening, she looked at the email that once broke her and whispered, "Thank you." Because that no had done what no yes ever could. It had forced her to stop performing and start expressing. That rejection hadn't destroyed her dream. It had redirected it. It had peeled back the layers of external pressure and led her straight to her truth. And in that truth, she found her voice. Not louder, but stronger. As her confidence grew, Nima started organizing free workshops at the local community center. Not to teach technique, but to teach courage. She told the young artists who came, "You don't need permission to create, and you don't need approval to keep going." They listened, not because she had a degree, but because she had lived it. Each of them brought their own stories: rejection, fear, self-doubt. And Nima met each one with the same message: your worth is not decided by someone else's taste. Slowly, she built a small movement, artists who weren't waiting for a green light to begin. They were already walking. And all of it began with a single no. The moment that once felt like the end had quietly become the beginning. Nima had learned a lesson the hard way. Rejection isn't the opposite of success. Sometimes, it's the path to it. Because being told no doesn't mean you're not ready. It just means you're about to grow in ways you didn't expect. Years later, Nima stood in her small studio surrounded by paintings that told 1,000 stories. None of them perfect, all of them powerful. She no longer chased invitations or waited for someone to say her work mattered. She knew it did, because it mattered to her and to the quiet souls who saw their own hearts in her brushstrokes. She understood now that rejection hadn't been a barrier. It had been a mirror, showing her what she was really made of. Without it, she might have spent years trying to fit in. But because of it, she discovered how to stand out by simply being real. Rejection didn't break her. It redirected her to herself. She smiled, thinking back to that first painful no, and whispered, "You saved me." And now, ask yourself, what if the moment that hurt the most was actually pointing you to the part of yourself you were meant to discover all along?